Hey guys, welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest channel and podcast. If you're on the podcast platforms, please do go ahead and subscribe. And if you are on YouTube, thank you for hitting that subscribe button as well as that like button. Is like walking into the room and hitting that light switch. We just want to go ahead and brighten up the place, and let's get into this podversation. I have been waiting to talk about this. Almost everyone has been talking about Kevin Hunter, or Kelvin Hunter, which is his real name, ex-husband of Wendy Williams, and how he has pretty much put it out there that he's broke and that he needs the courts to force Wendy Williams to get her frail behind back to work so that she can make money so that he can pay his bills. And it is absolutely crazy because I have this question, and then I want to get into this story from OK Magazine. But, Kelvin Hunter, he's pretty much taken he's taken on this I made Wendy Williams role, and that if it was not for her leaning on him and him helping her out the way that he did, she wouldn't be who she was. And it's a bit hard for me to believe that. And I really want to know what you guys think about that, because if that's really the truth, then why hasn't he done it for himself? Why hasn't he made another Wendy Williams? He made a baby with Sharina, didn't marry her, but he has not made her a successful businesswoman. He just made her an unwed mother and another person that was leeching off of Wendy Williams' money so that they could live the lifestyle that they had become accustomed to. And I just don't think that it was fair for the courts to even enforce something like that in the first place. Now, some people are saying, well, that's what Wendy Williams agreed to. But there were stipulations in the agreement that if she was not working, making the amount of money that she was making, doing the Wendy Williams show and doing the things that she was doing to make the amount of money that enabled him to get the alimony that he was receiving, that it could either be decreased or it could be dismantled, pretty much null and void. It would be no longer. And that's pretty much where she is at this point in time, because Wendy Williams has been an addict for many, many years. She wrote about it in her memoir many years ago. She's discussed it on the Wendy Williams show as well. And of course, now Kelvin Hunter, he's out here talking about it as well. I just don't understand why they would have even allowed that to happen. But he's saying he needs his money and he needs it now. He needs to pay his mortgage. He needs to pay his HOA dues. This and that and the other is backed up, and he needs his money. So get her propped up, get her back to work so that she can start making money again, so that I can start getting my alimony checks again, because he hasn't gotten anything, I believe, since last year. Crazy. Well, it's being reported that she has someone helping her with her massive multi-million-dollar fortune. And I'm really happy to hear that, because I am actually one of the thought that even though when we heard the story of how Wells Fargo shut her out of her account, I don't agree with the way that it was done. I do believe that they should have had someone in place that was, okay, maybe you can't access your money alone, but someone is responsible for making sure that the bills are being paid and you are being taken care of, so that you're not to the point where your bills are getting backed up. Like, she should never be in a position where her bills are being backed up, even though she has the money, but she can't access it, versus Kelvin, who is just waiting to get a check based on this court order or court agreement that was ordered, and she's not well. It shouldn't ever be that way, because he is obviously an able-bodied person who should be able to get up, go get a job, even if it's at McDonald's. I mean, so many places are hiring right now. There's signs everywhere. People, cannot get enough people to want to work. So he obviously is one of those people that don't want to work. I mean, let's be clear. But he can get out here and make money in other ways. But he doesn't want to work. So, according to insiders and court documents, guardianship expert and attorney Sabrinamorrissey has been in charge of handling her estate and deciding who gets a cut of her money. Morrissey, who specializes in estate administration, guardianships, and litigation, according to her bio, has reportedly been watching over her assets since May, nearly 5 months after Wells Fargo froze Williams's accounts, suspecting she was the victim of financial exploitation, dementia, or undue influence. Her accounts are now handled between the guardian, Miss Williams, and the courts, the insider said of the arrangement. The court can eventually decide to give Wendy back full control over her accounts and end the guardianship, but that is up to the court. Although the decision to hand over control was a difficult one, the source noted that Williams does still have a voice and she still has a say when it comes to the money made by her empire. So it's not like a Britney Spears situation. You remember that, right? It's not a situation like that. Thank God. So this is just someone who is watching over her finances, who's making sure that the decisions that are happening with her accounts are in her best interest. When Wendy asks for something to happen, the guardian is making sure it is on her own financial best interest first. She doesn't have 100% control right now. That could all change depending on what the court decides. The first order of business conducted by Morrissey, kicking Williams's ex-husband Kevin Hunter Sr. and 22-year-old son Kevin Hunter Jr. off the payroll. As OK magazine previously reported, the former radio jockey's only son was officially evicted from his Miami apartment in September after failing to pay the $6,800 monthly rent after his mother's accounts were halted. The source spilled that Kevin Jr. was cut off after deciding not to attend college, as Wendy agreed she would pay for living expenses while he completed his studies. Due to his choice not to enroll, the guardian reasoned he could get a job. And I 100% agree, because all she would be doing is not doing her son a favor. You have to get to the point where even if you have it like that, you have to realize that you have it like that. Just because you have it like that doesn't mean that your family members have it like that. And at a point in time, that also comes down to your children. Because if your child or children are of adult age and they are able-bodied and they can support themselves or get in a situation when they can support themselves, maybe not living the life and lifestyle that they lived when they were in your care, then that's what you have to do, because you're not doing them any favors by spoiling them and making them feel that they are entitled to live the life that you are living, because you worked for what you have, not them. And Wendy Williams worked really, really hard to get to the place where she is. And he wanted to be someone who's like, you know what? I don't want to go to school anymore, but I want to live a lavish lifestyle. Then she said, okay, well, not on my dime. And I am all for that. So as for her former spouse, he petitioned a judge to order the guardian to resume his alimony payments that ceased in February. In response, Wendy's attorney went on to cite their prenuptial agreement, which stated that if she was not employed, all severance payments shall be subject to either termination or modification. And I 100% agree. Again, he's able-bodied. He can get up and go and work. Or if he is claiming that he made Wendy Williams, like he claims to have done, then why haven't you done that for anyone else? Because the only claim to so-called fame or notoriety that he has is because he was the spouse of Wendy Williams and she gave him a position. She allowed him to manage her. She allowed him to be her bodyguard pretty much. And he was living the life that he wanted to live for many years. Now, it's been said that she knew he was being unfaithful and she allowed it to continue to go on. And I don't want to even say allowed it, but people only treat you how you allow them to treat you. So in a way she did, because she chose to stay if she knew. But she decided to, for whatever reasons they are, was to leave him several years ago and file for divorce finally. And so she shouldn't have to owe him anything. And with that being said, having a prenuptial agreement where she said that if things changed in her employment situation, that things in terms of the money can be modified to be decreased or to be completely annulled. And so now that he has the audacity to come out here to say that I want my alimony checks to be reinstated, in all of this time, he couldn't have found any source of working or some sort of business that had, he's invested in that would have given him a return on his investment to at least pay his bills. That's not her fault. She really shouldn't have to owe him anything else. So I am here to say that I am glad that she has a guardian in place right now who is helping to manage her assets, making sure that the right things are taken care of. And it really sounds like that this person really truly does have her best interests at heart by saying, you know what, ex and son, they need to be off of the payroll. And I 100% agree with that. She doesn't owe anyone anything. And quite frankly, I was appalled when I heard that he was going to get alimony. I really didn't expect that. But when you see how Kendu, I don't know, what is it with these Ks, but Kendu, who was the ex-husband of Mary J. Blige, he was unfaithful. He was cheating on Mary J. Blige, and he got alimony, and he was trying to get more money and all of these different things like that. The entitlement is unreal. It's unreal. Sherry Shepherd, her ex-husband, she and he were, I believe they had a surrogate. They were going to have a baby. Some things happened in that situation in marriage, and she got out of it, and he wasn't working, and she wound up having to pay him alimony and child support. He got custody of the child and all of this other stuff. And so she's out here hustling and working hard while he's just collecting checks. And some people may say, well, if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. Women have been out here all these years doing stuff like that, taking these men's money. So why can't it be the same way around? Listen, I'm not here to play those gender roles of who should be in this place and who should be in that place. But I am here to say that I don't believe anyone that was unfaithful to their spouse, that was the breadwinner, should be entitled to any sort of spousal support. I just don't agree with that, because I feel that that is betrayal. So why should I have to pay someone any money that betrayed me? But those are just my thoughts on that. But I am really glad to hear that she has someone in place who is taking the reins, who's watching over the finances, and who really believe that Kevin Hunter doesn't deserve any money. And look, if the son didn't want to go to school, and the agreement was that while he was in school, she would pay for rent, and he said he doesn't want to do that anymore, well, you can either find a way to pay the rent, or you can move out, go get a job, and live a downstated lifestyle that you can afford to pay for yourself. Because you know what? I'm done. I'm done with it. I've put in my years. I took care of you very, very well, might I add. And this is the payback I get. You can't even stay in school. Like, it's crazy. Change your major or something, but just to say, I don't want to go to school anymore, change schools, whatever. You know what? I don't want to get this degree, but I think I'm going to get a trade or something. But just to say, I'm just going to live in this $6,800 a month luxury penthouse apartment and have my mom pay for it, but I'm not going to go to school, even though that was the agreement. You don't deserve to get anything else, period. So I'm just happy to hear that it looks like someone is really looking out for Wendy's best interest when it comes to her money, because we don't know if she's going to be doing any type of working podcast work or even any sort of television work ever again, or if she will maybe some years down the line if her health continues to go on an upward trend versus downward, because the past images and video clips that we've seen of her, she just really didn't look well at all. And I don't wish that on anyone, but it doesn't help that she had these autoimmune diseases with her thyroid and all of that other stuff. And then to have the stress on top of that of how her ex-husband treated her, and then how her son has just been unreliable, disrespectful, and just a number of different things. I can't even imagine the stress, and stress definitely brings on dis-ease. So you guys let me know your thoughts about this in the comments section. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. And until the next time, this is Beth, and I'm just being beautifully honest.